Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts, answering some questions from you guys. Got a great question to start, leading up to the second half of The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 9, No Way Out. This one is from Ciaran, hutcheon, and he says, dude, keep up the good work and love your content. Been a viewer for a long time now. Would just like to ask, who has been your favorite group of survivors so far? And then he says, personally, his was Season 2 or Season 3. So I thought this was a great question to lead with. Going to give my thoughts on what is my favorite group of Walking Dead survivors we've had over the seasons thus far in the television series. Yeah, so that was an absolutely great question from Ciaran. It's something I think we've kind of briefly touched on, but I don't know if I've ever given my thoughts on it specifically. I mean, damn it, I've done so many videos at this point. Sometimes I forget how much stuff we've actually covered and what we haven't in different Q&As and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy. But this is going to be television series related. Comic book series will be different because the group is basically always different from the television series pretty much all the way through. Even if you look at like Season 1, in the television series, you have Daryl, who has never been a character in the comic book series, so it's always different. So the comic book series is a different version from the television series. But this is a difficult one to answer because, as he points out here, his personal favorite was Season 2, Season 3. And if you look at that, too, if you want to pick one point of the show which has your favorite group, I want you guys to write this in the comments below, by the way, of what yours is. For me, I think I got to go close to where you're at, Ciaran, because I do like your idea. The Season 2 group near the end, Season 3, was just a really, really cool group. You know, Season 3, you get the addition of Michonne, which adds a lot, but you kind of have the loss of Andrea, because she goes to Woodbury, that kind of deal. So there's that, and then, of course, at the end of Season 3, spoiler warning, she's killed off. And, of course, you lose characters like T-Dog and that throughout. Season 3 is pretty death heavy. You have Merle there for a bit. Season 2, you had Shane. Then we have, like, you know, your season 4, where you have, like, the kind of the group has sort of shrunk down a little bit. You added in a lot of people from Woodbury, but hardly any of them survived. And you add on the basically the Abraham group, Abraham, Eugene, Rosita. So they're pretty cool. Eugene's fun. Abraham's really cool. Rosita's fun. Season 5, you lose Beth, so some people might like it better after that. But then you lose Tyrese as well. So he's another character in there. If he's one of your favorites, that affects it. You have characters like Noah, and Season 6, we add in all the characters from Alexandria. So there's lots of different groups and different group compositions throughout the show. You get Bob and characters like that. You know, so it's pretty hard to pick one. But if I had to pick one where it was like, this was my favorite group of characters all throughout the show, probably would have to go with near the end of Season 2. Probably second half, before you lose, before Shane and Dale are killed off. So, because I like Dale, it's a great group because you didn't have Michonne yet, which is, you know, she's an awesome character too, so that kind of sucks. But you did have Andrea, you did have Dale, you did have Shane, you had all the rest of the group, basically the same, Daryl and everybody else in there. And you had like a really close-knit type of group where we got to know all the characters very well for the most part, except for maybe T-Dog and that, but he was fun to see there. And it just kind of has a, for me, kind of a nostalgic feeling for those characters and part of that group, versus now you have had a good number of characters added on. Michonne, again, is probably one of your biggest ones. And Morgan coming back is huge too. So I can see if people like the group better now than when it was at then. But I feel like the Alexandria characters haven't added that much to it, and you have a lot of the same survivors there earlier on. Plus you had Herschel in Season 2, and he's an awesome character, and you had his whole family and you know, at certain points, and everybody else as well there too, still alive before you get to see major deaths later on from some of them. But again, if you like Abraham's group, you like some of these groups like this, Tyrese and the rest, Sasha, they're added on later. So I can see if people differ on this one. It's definitely a subjective question. But for me personally, my favorite group was probably that near the end of Season 2. You still had Shane, you still had Dale, you had, well, Lori. Yeah, so that's mine. Anyway, like, great question. So write yours below, guys. And please, don't just spam the comments. Please actually write below what you think. Come on. I mean, you guys, ridiculous. People just keep complaining. What do you want me to do about it? You know, I can ban accounts. That's about all I can do. It's really up to you guys and what you're going to do. But write your favorite group of survivors below. And we'll get into some more questions from you guys. We'll do a few for today. This next one's from Adam, Big Red One, and he says, "Hey Trev, what about a throwback review of Internment?" So they were talking about Herschel, right? Internment was like his episode, man, where he's like the hero in that episode. It's pretty awesome. I've seen your review a while ago, and you claimed that it was one of the best episodes, but in fact, it wasn't in any of the top 10s. Keep up the great work. Greetings from Poland. So all the way from Poland. So you're right. The top 10 at one time, I think I did include it, or at least it was really close to it. It's really hard to make a top 10 best episodes for The Walking Dead or top 5 best episodes for Walking Dead because there are so many awesome ones. Like, The Grove is one I've seen on number 1 for lists for IGN. For me, you've got some of the big ones like Too Far Gone. You've got No Sanctuary. You've got Four Walls and a Roof. You've just got, the newer stuff, the newer episodes, some of the really awesome ones there. Recently I did a top 10. But Internment, yeah, it's one of the best ones. But the replay value of its replay value isn't. It's some of the best stuff from that first half of the season for sure. But for some reason, for me, it just gets beaten out by some of the other episodes that have huge character deaths or huge events that happen, like the governor attacking the prison, or the termites, the cannibals, and the hunters, and different events. There's just so many; it's hard to narrow it down to a top 10. But it would definitely be, I would say, in the top 15 to top 20, I think, because it is a great episode for sure. Awesome episode, definitely. Maybe underrated, but the sickness stuff isn't the most fun to watch. You watch and it's like, yeah, it's scary and everything like that, but if I kind of don't like to watch people being sick because it makes me feel sick, which I think is normal too. So that might be part of the reason why I didn't put it on the top 10. But it is one of the better episodes for sure in the series, definitely. One of the top episodes for sure, top 20 probably. Next one's from Jake Bauman. And he says, do you think that since Lauren Cohan has booked a lot more gigs, does that mean she might die in the second half? So I want to respond to this one. No, it doesn't mean that. We can't do math that way, or we can't draw a causal relationship that way, because Norman Reedus is in movies and that. He's going to be in 999, and he was in Air, and when Lauren Cohan would have filmed The Boy, it would have been a while ago. So if she's filming other stuff now, if she's in Batman v Superman as Martha Wayne, it's kind of funny. It would be interesting to see her play Bruce Wayne's mom. This is different. I didn't think about that, but no, it doesn't mean that necessarily. Plus, The Walking Dead's cast is so big, and we're going to talk about this in a larger world. I'm going to do a larger world video where I give my thoughts on kind of the change in the story and the concept of Walking Dead to a more larger world, which is fun. It just grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and as it does so, you get more and more characters added in there, and so each actor or actress, they don't necessarily have to be there for every single episode like they might have had to have been in Season 2. In Season 2, if a character went missing, like if Daryl didn't show up for a whole episode, you'd be like, hey, where's Daryl? It's a little weird, right? But now it's like, yeah, it's just, there's so many characters and a bigger story unfolding that you don't notice it at all, and it fits in perfectly. Father Gabriel was missing for like a few episodes. You're like, hey, where was that guy? And it's like almost nobody noticed. Next one's from John Casey. He says, hey, Trev, Season 4, Episode 16, title A. Do you think it correlates with A in Alexandria at all? Also, do you think we will ever meet the group that terrorized Terminus? So we kind of did. I think you might have missed something here. The character that had all the stuff on him and long hair, and a lot of people thought was Negan, he was the one that terrorized Terminus. But they were able to beat him. This guy. That's one thing about No Sanctuary. Maybe we'll talk about that in the throwback. It's a little bit confusing with the then and now stuff. A little bit. I think they've improved on that this season. They used black and white to show it better. I think Nicotero overcompensated for the fact that he knew people were confused by that episode and that they had trouble reading which was then, which was now, and he wanted to make it black and white for you. He wanted that's nice, Trevor. He wanted to make it black and white for you, so you could see it easily which one was which one was now, right? So there it is. So he overcompensated. People didn't like, I don't like that either. Yeah. You went a little too far. You should compensate but not overcompensate. So, but the A thing, dude. Okay, so the damn A, I'm going to stop talking about the damn. I drew an A in my background. You can't see it though, can you? No, it's in pencil. Maybe I need to use marker or something. It's fine. So, no, I don't think it means Alexandria. Like I said, I never thought it did. It's been in the show for longer than that. And, I guess it would be kind of, I think it would mean like Apocalypse or something like that. Personally myself. itself, because it doesn't always seem to relate to Alexandria right off the bat, unless they're trying to like say Alexandria is coming or something. You know, not really. Not really. You know, I don't know. I'd like to see Gimple actually answer that, but someone's got to ask him at a con. So if any of you guys go to a con, you get a mic. Just say, hey, Gimple, Trev wants to know, what the hell does the A mean? Quote me. Say it exactly like that. Not that he'll know who I am. But just ask him what the A means, please, somebody. Because it could mean a lot of things. But for me, I don't think it fits that it means Alexandria. No. I wouldn't. At least I wouldn't simplify it to that. You know, I think it's got a little bit more going on than that. But again, you can go crazy with that kind of stuff. There's lots of conspiracy theorist channels that read into numerology and all kinds of crazy shit. You'll lose your mind. Next one is from Matthew Gilligan. He says, hey, Trev, I don't want to offend you, but do you think if The Walking Dead was only a TV series and there was no comic book series to base your predictions on, you would get every prediction wrong? And then he smiled at face like that. I'm not hating, LOL. I love these. I'm not hating, but I just hated. You know, I'm not no hate, but I just hated. You know, negate the hate. Just, but I did just hate though, right? I got my sadistic tendencies out, but I don't want to act. I want to be cool about it, right? I want to be. It's cool, man. I'm just messing around. Been sub for over 2 years. Keep it up. I'll keep it up, bro. No, not all of my predictions are based just on the comic series. Sometimes I do get predictions right that are, that are not based on the comic series, depending. But yeah, I mean, it's, like Tyrese and that and his death. I did predict that beforehand. There was also spoilers prior, but I had thought that beforehand. Some of my death predictions per year have been pretty dead on. You know, if you look at some of them in the past, I mean, it's hard to predict who's going to die next and this kind of deal. You don't know what the writers are going to do, and they can do whatever they want. They could do anything. But which one makes sense, which one doesn't make sense, that's kind of what I do when I do my predictions, and give my thoughts on which characters I'm looking at. That said, recently, the last season, it hasn't really made much sense to do it, because everything's getting spoiled. So if everything's getting spoiled, there's really no reason for me to do, predictions or things. I do it anyway, but you kind of know, so I kind of have to dance around it. But no, it's not just based on the comic book series. However, I do find with Fear the Walking Dead, it is more difficult to predict when you don't have any idea where they're going to go at all. Then it makes it harder. And I did not see the, should I say that? There's a major death in Fear near the end, and I didn't see it. I'll just say it that way. I like to dance around spoilers. And we'll do one more for today. This one's from D-Fuse. He asks all kinds of great questions. He says, Trev, do you think Enid was introduced as a mysterious outcast kind of character for Carl to develop an attraction to that type of style of life, which would set him up for a relationship with Lydia further down the road? Just a thought. Thanks for reading. Well, I do think that Enid and Carl do share a unique type of similarity that, what's the commonality, or they just share, they share a worldview that not many other kids their age or teenagers would have at that time. I think Ron kind of, but Ron is just kind of starting to go through now. Enid lost everything basically and pretty much had nothing. She even ate a turtle. Freaking bitch. Turtles are sacred to me because I love Ninja Turtles. But she even ate a turtle. I mean, she was in a pretty rough state of mind there, So Carl can definitely relate to that because he's lost a great deal as well. And Ron is starting to go through that now and, losing as well too. But I definitely think that Carl would relate to her pretty well versus just some girl that lived in Alexandria and was always behind the walls and was always safe and was always fine. He probably relates better to her because he'll be like, oh, she understands me. I understand her, this kind of thing, right? So that makes sense to me that would fit pretty good. But we'll have to see down the road what they do with the television series version of Carl, what they do with his relationships. If they bring in another character, Enid ends up being Sophia, and then maybe Carl decides he doesn't want to be with her after all or something like that. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they go in the TV series and what direction. So, I'll call it here for today's. Got some more questions for the future. Keep sending me what you guys got, and I'll keep pumping out the videos for you guys. That's the deal. You send me what you got. You send me what you think. I'll answer the questions in the videos. I'll keep making videos for you guys. That's the deal. Send me what you guys got. If you like the video for today, go ahead and thumb it up below. If you want to support the channel, you can share, you can favorite. You guys know the same. I say the same shit every single video. Same thing. It's a system. Damn it. It's a system. So subscribe, damn it. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again for the next one. As always, it's Trev saying peace later. Guys, see ya.